My wife Sarah and I, I've been foster parents for about 3 years now, and throughout that time we've taken on foster kids, mainly in emergency placements, and we could never really take a long term because our schedules are so different. And the biggest problem was we were kind of selfish. We just didn't want to give up that much time and that much effort into something. And on a Friday, I remember we had a meeting with our licensing rep through the agency that we go through, and Sarah and I had pretty much talked about it and prayed about it, and we were going to give up our license. We couldn't do it anymore. We were just going to cancel our license. So the meeting we had on a Friday was supposed to be myself and our representative, and we were just going to tell them no more, we're done, drop us from the list. And that Friday came along, something came up with me and I couldn't meet him, so we decided to make the meeting for Monday. So Sunday came and we came to church, came here to Mercy as always, and there was a special speaker that we didn't know about, John Schweider, who represented the Royal Family Kids Camp, which is the camp for foster kids. And we didn't know what to expect. We thought it was a little coincidental that he was talking the weekend we decided to give up our foster care license. And during his talk, his presentation for Royal Family Kids, his personal experiences and experiences of kids that he's known, my wife and I were different after that. We were pretty much broken. And we came into the service thinking we're not doing foster care. We left the service thinking we can't do anything but foster care right now. And we talked to him, and Monday rolled around and we had our meeting with our licensing rep and told him what was going on, told him that we were going to try one more time. And this time, instead of us trying to be foster parents, we put it on God's plate and said, here you go. This is all yours. If there's going to be any success to it, it's going to be on God's. And he told us about a child who was coming into care in a couple of months, and we said it sounded good. Got to meet him once, met the family a little bit, but December 28th, we took in our child, Evan, who now is actually back in the kids ministry and enjoys himself back there, has friends here. And God has just worked in our life, not just Evan's and his family, but God's really working in our life throughout this whole thing. And all I can really say about it is God pretty much ruined us in that one moment of we thought we had a plan. God said, no, I have a plan, and we gave in to God's plan. And so far his plan's been so much better than ours ever was.
In 2008, I had the opportunity to go to Uganda for about 3 weeks on a short-term mission. And part of our mission was to give some humanitarian aid. We traveled to schools in the morning and gave school supplies to kids. And then we would do like a Bible lesson with them. So in the night, we would go to what they would call crusades. And it was just like they would call in people from the villages and they would come to a central location, and there was always a message that somebody would give, and people would come up and give their testimonies, and there was always just this great worship time where they would have like a local worship team come up, and they would sing, but they would also just dance with this just passionate, just victorious worship music. And I just remember there was one night, and I'd been there for probably about a week or two, and I remember thinking this one night at the Crusades, why am I not feeling anything? I was just kind of numb, and I'd seen some of the worst kind of poverty you can imagine. I saw kids that lived in a chicken coop, and I saw the displacement camps up in northern Uganda. I remember I was standing, I had to just kind of get apart from everybody and just kind of stand off to the edge of what was going on. And I just looked out and saw this giant group of people, and they're just singing and they're dancing. And I'm like, God, why am I not feeling anything? Will you just give me your heart for the poor? And All I can say is if you ask God to give him your heart for the poor, you better brace yourself. I believe what God did is he gave me just a tiny fraction of his heart. So I don't think I could handle it. We couldn't handle the full compassion that God has for the poor. He touched my heart and just totally wrecked me, and I just started weeping and weeping, and I was just thinking of my life and how much of it I'd wasted, how much of it I'd just spent doing what I wanted and getting things that I wanted, and none of it brought any kind of happiness. So I'm looking at these people, and I'm reflecting on what I had seen in Uganda, the poorest of the poor people, and yet everybody there was so joyful, so full of faith, completely and fully relied on God for everything, never thinking for a second that he wouldn't provide for them. And it just really challenged my faith. These people were so poor, and yet everybody there was taking whatever little they had and building a small school or a small church or a small orphanage, and just trying to help their fellow man. And from that point on, I just knew I can't live for myself anymore. I can't live for whatever empty thing. So my challenge would be to just let go of your life and let God interrupt it. And it might be messy, and you might cry a lot, but it's going to change you. Get on board with what he's doing and serve in any way that you can. Because whatever God's doing is just so much more fulfilling and so just infinitely better than anything that we could do.